When we think about who really drives big positive change,
Mm-hmm.
well, our minds often jump to, like, politicians in D.C., right? Or maybe those huge global companies.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the standard picture. We think big institutions, big policies.
But the material you shared for this deep dive, it offers a really interesting, almost counterintuitive idea.
It does. It suggests that maybe some of the most powerful forces for actual good are, well, much smaller scale, closer to home.
Okay, so let's get into that. The source points specifically to leaders of small and medium-sized businesses, not the household names necessarily.
Exactly. The people running the local construction company or the software firm downtown, that kind of thing. The source calls them the quiet backbone of the economy.
The quiet backbone, I like that. And it paints a picture of them, creating jobs, supporting families, really driving growth in their communities.
Mm-hmm. And doing it while facing constant uncertainty, working incredibly hard. The source really emphasizes the sheer effort involved.
Yeah, it mentions how unforgiving it can be. Like, small mistakes aren't small for them.
Yeah.
Everything kind of rests on their shoulders.
It really does. Their grit, their determination. The source frames leadership less about, say, specific business skills and more about fundamental things like mindset, courage, just a deep sense of responsibility.
So that's our mission here, then, for this deep dive, which is sort of unpack what the source says makes these leaders so impactful. What are those qualities? How do they operate?
And hopefully, for you listening, this gives a clearer picture of what really drives positive change and, sustainable success, often in ways that fly under the radar.
Okay, so diving in.
Yeah.
The source makes a pretty bold claim right off the bat. It says success isn't really about complex theories or strategies.
No, it boils it down. It argues the most crucial things are simpler, like doing meaningful work, genuinely bringing value to customers.
Day in, day out. Earning that trust.
Earning trust, exactly. And that's where it connects business to, like, positive social impact.
Oh, so
Well, the source links focusing authentically on helping people, solving actual problems. It links that directly to a company becoming a force for good.
So profit matters, obviously, but it's not the only driver.
Right. The source insists purpose provides that deeper strength, the endurance.
And it warns, too, doesn't it? Businesses build mainly on, let's say, selfish motives.
Yeah, they might have a quick flash of success, maybe, but the source suggests they rarely last. People eventually sense it's not genuine.
Okay, so true success, according to this material, comes from wanting to serve, to actually improve things for others.
That's the core argument. That commitment isn't just like a nice extra, it's central.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, connecting back to that idea of struggle. The source says great leaders don't just succeed when times are good.
Right. They actually sort of rise when things get tough. That's the key point. They don't crumble.
They stay calm somehow, find a way through.
Exactly. And that internal state, staying composed, determined, even when facing, potential failure, that has a real impact externally.
How does the source describe that?
It shows how the leader's energy, their resolve, it lifts the whole team. It's contagious. But so is the opposite if the leader shows weakness or panic.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that doubt can spread just as fast. It really highlights the weight they carry.
And what about innovation? Does the source talk about that?
It does, but maybe not in the way we usually think. It's not always about huge breakthroughs. No, it starts simpler. It's framed as a constant daily discipline. Just asking, how can we be better today than we were yesterday?
Okay. Like small refinements, finding smarter ways to do things.
Exactly. Continuous improvement, never settling. And that culture, the idea that everyone should be thinking about making things better, that starts at the top. The leader sets that expectation.
Okay. So pulling these threads together from the source material, true success, both in business and for society, it's not just about profit.
Right. It seems deeply rooted in purpose, persistence, integrity.
And that focus on serving others, plus that relentless drive to just keep getting better, even in small ways.
Yeah, that focus on the daily grind, the small steps, making things incrementally better. That's what builds something lasting, according to the source.
And connecting it back to the leader. Their internal strength, that courage, staying calm through the hard times. That presented as the engine, really.
It is. It shapes the team, determines the future. It's a powerful perspective the source offers.
Definitely. In a world kind of saturated with news about the big players, it suggests the most consistent positive difference might actually be made much more quietly by these leaders with heart and resilience.
Leaders who just don't stop.
So the final thought for you listening to this deep dive, based on the source, if maybe the biggest positive impact comes from this quiet strength, this purpose-driven persistence in our communities, how might you, spot or support leaders like that?
Or maybe even think about how you could apply some of these ideas yourself. Purpose, persistence, service, always improving. Even in your own work, whatever that might be, even the small stuff.